What he is, confidence, the stature he has, the physicality, he might have had to wait for that to come. And now he's today a few times on the halfway line, running in on goal, blowing players away, holding people off.
From starting in the Championship to becoming a Champions League top scorer, Viktor Gyökeres has undergone an incredible transformation. Now it looks like he's ready to take on the Premier League. So which teams should he join and why? What does he need to improve to become a Premier League beast? But before we dive into that, let's take a step back and look at how he earned the title of one of the best strikers in the world. You know how every great player has that one moment when they fall in love with football? For Viktor Gyökeres, it all started in Sweden. But here's the thing, he didn't come from some massive academy or a famous youth club that churns out star after star. No, he worked his way up from the grassroots, from a small club called IF Brommapojkarna, where he first started turning heads. Now, here's what I love about Gyökeres' story. He wasn't some superstar from day one. This guy had to grind. At Brommapojkarna, he was this tall, lanky teenager with raw talent, but loads to learn. And he did exactly that. Step by step, he put in the hours, honed his skills, and caught the eye of scouts. It was that classic underdog journey, and you know he took every tough game, every setback, and used it as fuel. Then comes the big leap, right? He gets a chance to join Brighton in the Premier League. But here's the twist, he doesn't break into the first team right away. Instead, he's loaned out to Coventry City. Now you'd think from the bright lights of the Premier League to the English Championship might feel like a step back. But Gyökeres, he saw it as a shot. And man, did he make the most of it. Coventry was where people started noticing him. He became that relentless, fearless forward that defenders dreaded. Every game, every touch of the ball, it was like he had something to prove. So here's Gyökeres tearing it up at Coventry, and finally people start to take note. Sporting CP in Portugal sees this guy, sees the raw potential, and brings him in. Suddenly, he's on a whole new stage, and he's ready to prove that he's not just a championship star, but someone who can shine at the top level. That's where the real story begins. He arrives in Lisbon, stepping into a whole new world. I mean, the pressure here is intense. Sporting has huge expectations, especially from their forwards, and they don't mess around. You've got a passionate fan base and a packed stadium, and everyone's watching to see if this guy from Coventry could cut it. But Gyökeres, he looks right at home from day one. I mean, he made his debut for the club against Vizela, of which he scored 2 times in that match. It's like he was waiting for a moment this big. In the next month, he would make his European debut in European competitions, where he started and scored in a 2-1 victory against Sturm Graz. He didn't look out of place at Sporting at all. He scored his first hat-trick for the club the next month when they played Ferenese. And this was not all down to him, but Ruben Amorim, Sporting's former coach, who's known for getting the best out of his players. Amorim sees something special in Gyökeres and puts him in the center of their attack. He's not just looking for goals, although don't get me wrong, Viktor's knocking them in. He's looking for Gyökeres to play with power, to lead the press, to make defenders' lives miserable. And Gyökeres loves it. He's putting in those hard runs, challenging defenders, and you can tell he's thriving with that responsibility. What's wild is that Gyökeres isn't just showing up as some target man, he's running the show. He's linking up with teammates, he's setting up plays, and showing everyone that he's way more than a finisher. He's a complete forward. Every game, every goal, it's like he's sending a message. He's not here to just play in Portugal, he's here to dominate. Oh, and let's talk about his confidence for a second. At Sporting, you can tell he's got this swagger, like he knows he belongs at this level. You watch him and there's this fearlessness to his game. He'll take on defenders without a second thought, pull off some crazy turn, and before you know it, he's either smashing a shot past the keeper or setting up a teammate with a perfect assist. It's like he's playing with this mission to prove he's ready for an even bigger challenge. And here's the thing, his impact goes beyond just stats. Sporting's fans are obsessed with him because he brings this energy and fight that they can't get enough of. Gyökeres has quickly become the heart and soul of their attack, and every time he's on the ball, you can feel the anticipation in the stadium. Gyökeres' first season was very impactful for the club as he turned into their main man. It seems like the last piece of the big puzzle, as he had a rare mix of power, speed, and technical skills, which you don't see every day. I mean, he was a Haaland that could dribble and pass. The guy sees passes and spaces that most strikers miss. He's not just aiming for goals every time, he's constantly setting up his teammates, linking up in tight spaces, and creating chances out of nowhere. He ended his first season at Sporting on a high note, scoring goals, earning him the title of the Premier Liga top scorer, and also winning his club the 20th Premier Liga title in his first season. I mean, his first season. I hope you see some Haaland traits in him. And he also became the second Swedish player to win the top scorer award after Matt Magnusson in 1989. And as if that was not enough, he won the title of the best player of the Premier Liga and was part of the best league lineup that season. His second season would start with a banger, with him scoring his first ever goal in the UEFA Champions League in a 2-0 victory over Lille. In the league, he would also perform some magic, as he scored 4 goals in a single match against Farenese. I mean, who can stop this boy? He didn't stop there, but also went on to become the first Sporting player in the world to score a hat-trick in the Champions League era, in a 4-1 victory against Manchester City. You know, a lot of credit for Gyökeres' rise has to go to Ruben Amorim. This guy is a tactical genius, and he's figured out exactly how to get the best out of Viktor. Amorim's taken that raw talent Gyökeres showed at Coventry and turned him into this absolute beast that can terrorize any defense. It's like he's handed Gyökeres the ultimate game plan, and now the guy's out there on the field looking like he knows every defender's next move. Amorim's system is all about intensity, pressing high and quick transitions, and it's perfect for someone like Gyökeres. He's not just waiting for the ball, he's constantly moving, pressing defenders, winning the ball back high up the pitch and creating havoc. And because of Amorim's tactics, Gyökeres doesn't have to worry about just scoring goals. He's got this freedom to roam, to link up with his teammates, and just be a complete forward. The way Amorim had Gyökeres playing was smart too. He was using Gyökeres' physicality and speed to drag defenders out of position, opening up spaces for other attackers. Gyökeres has become this key piece in Sporting's attack, and it's obvious that Amorim has worked with him to polish his decision-making and positioning. He's not just running with the ball, he's making those perfect runs, picking the right moments to attack, and keeping defenders guessing. Honestly, it felt like Amorim turned Gyökeres into this tactical weapon. He's now more than just a striker. He's the engine of Sporting's forward line, and with Amorim's guidance, Gyökeres has developed this killer instinct. You can tell he's playing smarter, seeing things that others might miss, and it's all thanks to the way Amorim has molded him. So when Gyökeres eventually makes his way to the Premier League, he'll be arriving with a new level of tactical awareness. But what team should he move to? But before we go into that, why don't you take a minute to like and subscribe to the channel? It would really help us to put out amazing content like this. Thank you. Now, back to the video. Well, Gyökeres could move to Arsenal, where he would be under Arteta's free-flowing football. Arsenal's got that high-energy, high-press style that would suit him perfectly. They need someone with that physical presence up front, and Gyökeres would be a great addition to their attack. Plus, he'd link up with players like Saka and Ødegaard. They'd be feeding him chances left and right, and his movement would pull defenders all over the place, giving Arsenal even more options in the box. It's like a match made in heaven. And then there's Chelsea with Enzo Maresca at the helm. Maresca's tactical style, rooted in quick transitions and a fluid attack, could suit Gyökeres perfectly. Chelsea's been on the lookout for a reliable goalscorer, and Gyökeres would not only bring that, but also a level of versatility Maresca values. Impressing defenders, winning the ball high up, and linking up with their young talents? Well, he'd be a Jackson but with better finishing and vision. Under Maresca, he could thrive as part of a dynamic, high-tempo system. Gyökeres could be the guy Chelsea's been missing to finally start converting all those chances. And then there's Manchester United with Ruben Amorim, his old coach from Sporting. Amorim has already unlocked Gyökeres' potential, so he knows how to get the best out of him. United has needed a consistent number 9 who can handle the physicality of the league and lead the line. Gyökeres has that strength, but he's also got the technical ability United needs up front. Don't get me wrong, he could also make use of Højlund or Zirkzee, who is in the team, but for his kind of style, I could see Zirkzee getting sold or being changed to play as the second striker if needed. but he would still need two good players that play Højlund's kind of position, which can be Viktor, and with Amorim's guidance and United's support, Gyökeres could easily become the next big star at Old Trafford, especially given his familiarity with Amorim's pressing and high-intensity system. So, Arsenal, Chelsea, or United, it's honestly a win-win for all of them. Each of these clubs could really use what Gyökeres brings. Personally, I think he would thrive wherever he goes, but it's going to come down to where he can make the biggest impact and become the star we know he can be. If he is the next superstar like Haaland in the league, he would have to improve on some things. First, he's got to stay consistent. Haaland has this crazy ability to score almost every game, and if Gyökeres wants to make that kind of impact, he's going to need that same ruthless mentality. No off days. Every game he needs to be a threat, constantly testing defenders and putting himself in those scoring positions. Then he's got to be adaptable. Haaland adapted to the pace and physicality of the Premier League right away, and that's no small feat. Gyökeres will have to adjust quickly too, figure out each team's weaknesses, learn how to play against top-class defenders and stay ahead of them. But with his power and speed, I honestly think he's got what it takes to hold his own and even dominate. And lastly, he's got to work on that killer instinct. Haaland is all about finishing. He doesn't miss many chances, and he's always in the right place at the right time. Gyökeres is great, but to be truly elite, he'll need to turn those half chances into goals every single time, like the goal he missed in his first chance against Manchester City. He's already shown he can finish, but doing it week in and week out in the Premier League, well, that's the next level. But what do you think? Can he be the next big thing in the league, and what team do you think needs him most? See you in the comments section, and you can check out this video to see how Ruben Amorim is going to change United.